And welcome everybody to our show today. We've got an exciting show. We're going to talk about some really cool things here in a little bit. But first thing I want to kind of tell everybody about. So this applies specifically if you are an Army family. Recently, we know some of the Army emails are transitioning to a new system, and so if you previously had an email that was it was at mail.mil and you transferred over to the new system, and now your email is army.mil, you need to go into DPS and you need to make sure you update your email and your contact information there. I know it's going to be forwarding for a little bit of time, but eventually that mail.mil piece is going to go away completely and will be at just the at army.mil. So if you have a PCS coming up, if you have a shipment set up in DPS already, make sure you log into DPS, make sure you go to your contact information, your profile piece, and you update that email to your new email that has the at army.mil address, or even your spouse or a civilian email address, to make sure you get all those emails and continue getting that communication from not only DPS, but your TSP and your move coordinator, because they're going to go by that information that you have listed in DPS. So just make sure that's all current, make sure it's all up to date, make sure it's the correct Army email address that is in there. So we're going to jump right into today. I'm really excited about this. I have my good friend Sierra Redmond here, and I'm very, very excited about this. Listen, y'all, if you need to travel, I'm going to drop her link into the comments so you can follow. She does a lifestyle travel blog, and she's got like the most amazing things ever. I love following her and watching her on there, but I'm going to let her give her a chance to tell us more about herself as well. So welcome, Sierra, to the show.
Hi, thanks so much for having me today.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, I don't know where to begin, but I am Sierra Redmond. I'm a journalist and a travel industry expert, and specifically in the last four and a half years, I have been helping military families in their journey of PCS and travel. And while most people don't think those two things go together, they kind of do. You have to move every 2 to 4 years and experience new things. And sometimes the duty stations you go to are not great.
Right.
So my job here in some bandwidth is to help military families love where they live and gather the best experience they possibly can within that 2 to 4 years time.
Yeah. And so going right into it, she wrote this book. It's called where's my camera? My PCS Passport. I'm still getting used to this, y'all. So My PCS Passport. So this is just a little simple guide to kind of go through here and help you learn more about your location, kind of discover some things about your location. What inspired you to really write this book?
Ooh, so before my website and before I got into the travel industry, I became a military spouse, and that was 7 years ago. Ooh, like time goes by really fast.
You're such a baby. Has it really only been 7 years?
Yep, 7 years.
Oh my god, I feel like you've been around a lot longer than that.
No.
We're our family, we're closing in on our 16 years, and so knowing
Wow.
you're 7, just like, oh, my little baby Army spouse.
I sure don't feel like it. I have a gray hair for every PCS.
I think we all do. I think that's like, like a little, what do you call it? Rite of passage type of thing.
Yeah.
You PCS, you get a gray hair. You have a deployment, you get a gray hair. You do a,
Spouse leaves, you get 3.
yes, so much so.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you wrote this book to kind of help people learn more about their location, kind of traveling locally in a sense. So from your own experience, how has it been trying to fit into a new duty location when you have PCS'd yourself?
You know what? I guess I'll go back. My very first duty station was Fort Leonard Wood, and we have been twice. And anyone who knows anything about Fort Leonard Wood, you either hate it or you just dislike it. Like there's no in between.
Yeah.
And when we first went, when we were babies, when we were actually babies, I kind of thought it was the best thing. I had never lived outside of Atlanta, in Georgia, so being in the country was kind of nice, like being in a rural area, and we explored And I want to say we lived there for 2.5 years, and then we left and we moved to Miami. So we were really excited about moving there, and unfortunately, the Army punished us and moved us back to Fort Leonard Wood. So I had a new perspective of the area just from the fact that I got to live in this vibrant city, and then I was going back to like a rural area, and I really didn't enjoy it. But in Facebook groups and other military spouse groups that were really popular then, I learned that some other spouses were having the same issues. They're moving to these duty stations and they hate it. And I just feel like the service member really can't enjoy his job or have a work life balance if the spouse and the family is miserable. So that kind of like got my gears going. Like, what can I do to serve this community of people that may or may not like the place that they absolutely have to live for a certain period of time? And that's where I got the idea for my book. And my PCS passport is exactly what it sounds like. When you go and you travel, you have kind of like your stamps in your passport to remind you of all the amazing places you went. Or in a glance, when you see the stamps on that passport, you think back to a memory or a time that you enjoyed yourself. And that's kind of what this journal is. It's 52 weeks of exploration challenges and reflections for that duty station. So every week you get a new um, prompt that you can fill out and you can complete with yourself, your family, or a group of friends in your area. And really, even if it's not the best place in the world, you have something to do every single week to experience something new. And then a couple of years later, you can look back on this journal and reflect on your experiences that you wrote down, and you may appreciate them a little bit more now that the time has passed.
Yeah, absolutely. So this book, so the prompts that are in here, I will say some of them I absolutely love. Like one is find the most historic or famous place in your new town. So my husband and now my older son being kind of, history buffs and being really into history, like that is perfect for them because it's something we can do together as a
Yeah.
family. Other ones like make a list of 10 things you want to do and do them before you PCS. Like we always do a bucket list, and
Mhm.
I always feel like sometimes like we get started on our bucket list and we fall off. When we were in Virginia, we were stationed at Fort Eustis previously, like I had like a 2-page bucket list that we're going to do. And then
Yeah.
my husband deployed, and then it was just like, well, forget this. Like we just won't do this, like,
Yeah.
whatever. And then there's some other ones about like finding, like the food that your town is for and shopping locally, and finding a small business to support that's like a local shop. And I
Yeah.
loved doing that in Virginia. So how do like some of these types of activities really help us get the new area to truly feel like home?
I think sometimes we move. I'll just use us for example. We've never lived anywhere longer than 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
So the first year is kind of like the move-in phase. You're unpacking, you're decorating, the house kind of feels like your own. You're learning your way around town and what route is the quickest to go to work and to school. And then the second year is a blur. Like before you know it, it's over. So I think most of us need some guidance, some direction. Like, okay, you fall into a pattern. Like, okay, I love this coffee shop down the street. I'm gonna go every
Mm-hmm.
Wednesday. Before you know it, those Wednesdays are over.
Mm-hmm.
So we're getting comfortable in those 2 years, and this guide kind of disrupts that comfort and says, "Hey, you have a limited amount of time. How about every week we try something new and build on those experiences?" And I think the more that you experience, even if the place is not the best place on earth, you have so many memories because you've done the prompts that it means something to you later. So that's how I think it makes a place feel like home and
Mm-hmm.
comfort, and it just whatever memory that you're going to have at that duty station will be more fulfilled with each prompt that you complete.
Mhm. And I think it kind of helps you also try to find like those hidden gems in your town
Yeah.
that you don't really know unless you're from there, unless like you grew up there and like this is the spot to go hiking, or this is like the coffee shop to go at, or this is the the fireworks on the 4th of July. Like, this is the
Yeah.
little spot you need to go find because you're going to get the best view. And those little things that you sometimes don't know unless you are from there, or you start like harassing the locals saying, hey, tell me the details. And so I love that this kind of walks us through and helps us really learn the area. It helps us travel locally in our area to find those things that, sometimes we discover it on, we got a month to go before our home is getting picked up. And it's just like, why didn't I know about this location sooner?
Right.
And then you get that guilt, like you find those places and then you say, we're going to come do this. We're going to do it every week. We're going to do it every month or whatever. And then again, you're in that last month and you're just like, why didn't we do this more? So it's like that issue and that problem. So can you tell us about a time for you, like when you moved to a spot that you didn't really like? I know you talked about Fort Leonard Wood, but either there or somewhere else that, and how you were able to kind of help it feel like you really belonged there and that you were a part of that community.
Oh, really belong. I would definitely say here. We live in Vegas right now.
Which we're
And
all jealous about, by the way. I mean,
I absolutely love it here. We thought that Miami would be our forever home, but I do think that Las Vegas will be it for us. Whenever we're done, we'll probably come back. But this is such a special place, and I think it's special because most people that visit here see like the strip, and they're like, "Okay, but don't you get tired of the lights?" I'm like, "No." People live normal lives. We live 10 minutes from the strip. We can see it from our house. And we live normal, everyday lives here. Great neighbors. Most of our neighbors are actually from Hawaii. They jokingly call it the ninth island because so many people move here. And so much of that culture is here. And it's so weird. I did not expect that, but we have the most amazing neighbors, most amazing friends. Always something to do every day of the week. Everything's always open. This just truly just feels like home to us. So in contrast, I did talk about Fort Leonard, and the reason I keep talking about it is because every time we get something great like Vegas or Miami, they send us back. And we're like holding our breath that we don't go back a third time.
And so you have a PCS like me coming up in the summer. We're in that stage of waiting for orders, waiting to see where we're going to go to. Is it going to be a place we like, someplace we expected, or is it going to be that place that we really don't want to go to? Or is it going to be the surprise orders we didn't expect? And so I totally get that, like we're at a place we love. It could be Fort Leonard Wood, and which... Listen, I will come and visit you. If you end up there, I will come and visit you, and you can take me through this at your local spot, and we will go find all the cool little local fun places and everything, which I'm really looking forward to our next PCS with. Again, we don't know where we're going, and so I got this book a couple months ago, and I've been saving it. It's been like with all my PCS stuff because I'm just like, I don't know where we're going yet. And if it's someplace I don't want to go or someplace we weren't expecting or haven't been there before, like this is going to be the perfect thing to help walk me through getting, into the community and finding those spots and knowing what it is I want to do, where to go, creating our bucket list and being able to really just enjoy our local area. I think sometimes, we go to a location, if we've been there before, it's, oh, I know where to go. I know what to do. I know all the things. But going through this book, looking at all of the prompts, thinking back to even some of my favorite locations that we've been to, and when we got to be someplace for a little bit, just like, oh yeah, like that's something we didn't do. And that'd be a great idea to do for our next location. So I'm holding this like the holy grail of when we PCS in a couple months, waiting for where we go. So you told us your favorite duty station. You told us the duty station that you don't like. And so fingers crossed you're not going back for a third time. But let's talk a little bit also about your PCS experience. How many times have you all PCS'd?
4.
4?
4 times in 7 weeks.
So military movers or do it yourself?
We've always done military. I'd just rather not. But I will say, our last time living in Fort Leonard Wood, we actually had to move ourselves, and it was absolutely awful because we put our house on the market and it sold in a day. And we weren't ready yet. Our real estate agent told us to go ahead and put it on early so we had time to transition out. And we actually had 1 month left. We put it on the market. The next day it was gone. So we were forced to move out and move on post within a week. And we had to move ourselves on post for 30 days. So
Oh my
after that
goodness.
experience, a move in the middle of a move, we moved twice in 2 months during that period. And I just rather give it to the military movers. But we've had the best of the best military moves, and we've had the worst, just depending on where we were going. So we've experienced both.
I feel like you always get that the spouses or families are really on one side of that PPM train. Either they love it and they always do it, or like they did it once and it broke them and never again. I will tell you, like, my husband's in that same camp. Like, we did it one time and he was just like, never ever again. He was just like,
Right.
we did it, like, we're good. And I have to always remind him, I'm like, well, you drove a 26-foot Penske truck like across country.
Yeah.
I'm like, but we live in like a modern age now where like they can come and drop a container, they can drop a truck, and like they will come pick it up and transport it. Like, you don't have to do that again, honey. And he was just like, no, we did it once. We're good. Check that box.
Right.
Got the gray hair from that as well. But we have a great question here. And it's going to show up here as Facebook user because it's posted in the group from Ann Snyder. So do you use word of mouth to find local hidden gems, or do you have like a few websites that you use to help find those as well?
I definitely use it all, but I start with word of mouth because many
Mm-hmm.
times I've discovered that some of the people that are there actually grew up there. Like for Missouri, for example, some of the spouses that were stationed there chose that duty station because it was close to home.
Mm-hmm.
So they have that experience growing up in the area or near the area. And I found a lot of hidden gems that I probably wouldn't have even outside of my city. We were in a spot where we were in between St. Louis and Springfield. So there's a lot of driving space. And we're also on Route 66. And a lot of people that lived there had been there for a very long time. They saw the area transform and they were able to tell us about spots we wouldn't have found ourselves. And then as far as websites, I love Pinterest still. I know it's a dying breed, but I still think that Pinterest has very useful information. And also, my favorite hack to find food, because that's one of the first things I'm looking for, is Instagram. So you go to tags and you'll
Mm-hmm.
search like hashtag city and then foodie. So I'll use Vegas, for example, hashtag Vegas foodie, and I'll see what everybody else is eating, and I'll choose from that list and save it to a named folder on my Instagram. And I do that for most cities and states. And when we travel there, I'm not scrambling to look for an itinerary. I already have a folder saved with things that I've seen that I like or want to check out. And then I'll use that to plan my trips or to eat locally or try new things locally that I wouldn't have found myself. Also, like searching for city specific Facebook groups,
Mm-hmm.
so military spouse groups, local groups that are neighborhood groups on Facebook. They're really helpful too, because those are the people that have been there for the long haul and they have all the best information.
Yeah, definitely. And also like the a lot of cities, at least the bigger, more metropolitan areas, usually have
Mhm.
like a what's the word I'm looking for? Like a travel here or like visit here type of.
Like a tourism board.
Yeah,
Like
that. Thank
yeah.
you. Tourism. That's the word I couldn't think. Usually have like a tourism board or a
Mhm.
website or page of some sort where there they usually highlight like a lot of like the local things as well that we've used that even just locally. Like I'd Google like what to do within an hour of us or 2 hours, and
Yeah.
I'd find this cool thing that's located in this one city we've never been to, and I'd go look up the tourism board to see like what else is there to do. Like I don't want to travel 2 hours to do this one thing that may take us 30 minutes to do because it seems really cool. Like what else can we do there?
Right.
So definitely that. And then also I dropped the link earlier to Sierra's page for her the Daily Impressions
Yeah.
travel site. And more than likely, Sierra might have already traveled there as well because she travels everywhere.
Yeah.
and writes about it and shares everything that she's learned about there. So check her site too, because it's phenomenal. I love following along and the pictures that you take of food. Like, I'm always jealous. I was just like, that's so good. And like, I look at the lunch I'm having and I'm just like, this doesn't look so but definitely go check that out as well. And we've also dropped in the comment section, you'll see too, we dropped the Amazon link to where you can purchase your own copy of it. So if you've got a PCS coming up, if you've got a friend PCS coming up, and also commented earlier, like what a great Christmas idea gift. So if you've got a friend coming up that's coming down on order soon, moving away, really simple, easy gift that you can get them as well to help them find, those local things of their community. And we also dropped the link as well to Sierra's My PCS Passport group as well. So you can go join the PCS Passport community, and share about your experiences and things there. So Sierra, thank you so much for being on today and joining us and sharing about your book and your experiences and your travels and all that good stuff. And I can't wait to see where you get orders to. I can't wait we'll have you back on maybe late next summer so we can talk about your experience PCSing, or maybe while you're in the middle of PCSing, while you're traveling down the highway and, discovering all the local things along the route for us. And whatnot. But thank you so much for being here, and thank you for your time and all that good stuff.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to see what you guys do with the book and what experiences you guys have, what journeys you go on. That's the fun part.
Yes. So I can't wait till we move so that way I can put this book to use and discover all those local things wherever it is that we may be. So thank you again for being here, Sierra. And don't forget to join us next week. We've got an exciting show coming up then. And until then, y'all have a great day and hopefully a smooth PCS. Bye.